Hey everybody, I'm Jack Reedy with Future Pastimes. I'm a game designer, and I wanted to do a review of a game that I picked up at Gen Con, and that game is the Bridgerton game, the high society game. And the reason that I picked this game up is because my wife is a fan of Bridgerton, and while she will play some games, a lot of these games are not her cup of tea. So I thought there would be a good chance that we could get this one to the table. I enjoy playing games with my wife and with friends and the rest of my family. My daughter also really likes Bridgerton. She is into more of the types of games that I play, but she enjoys lighter games as well. So we did indeed get this to the table this last week, and the three of us played it. I'm going to go over very briefly the mechanisms of the game and how it's played, and then we'll talk about what did we think of it, and what did we like about it, etc., etc. So, the Bridgerton game, as I said, it's a very light game. It only took us about 25-30 minutes to play it for a 3-player game. It'll play up to 6 players. What you're going to do at the start of the game is you're going to set up a number of prospects on these cards. So, you've got, for instance, the Duke. You can have a row of, or rather a column of gentlemen, or you can flip them over and have the ladies, or you can mix and match. I don't think it really matters, but you're going to have one more of these than you have players. So we had 4 of those, and the order in which they are stacked on the table is going to matter, because whoever is at the top has the highest prestige, which means they're going to be worth the most points at the end of the game. And the object of the game is you're trying to take your lady character, if you're playing the ladies looking for men, or flipping around, you got the gentleman on the other side. So again, I don't think it really matters. We had the ladies, they're all going to get engaged. They're trying to get engaged to somebody who has more prestige and more traits that will give them positive points. Each one of these characters is going to have 2 trait tokens on there, which start off face down. You don't know what the traits are. Some are positive, some are negative in terms of point values. They also can move a character up and down the prestige ladder. So if a trait gets revealed that is negative, it may have a down arrow, and they will move down and be worth fewer points at the end of the game. So what you're going to do is you're going to take all of the ball cards, and you're going to shuffle them up and put all 8 of them out in a row, and you're going to be going to 8 balls over the course of the game. And at the ball card is going to have some kind of special condition that happens either before the ball or during the ball or after the ball. This one, for instance, before the ball begins, players may discard a card and draw a new one. So the cards in question are your dance cards, and everyone's going to have 2 of these. And they do 2 things. One is they'll have a number on them that will determine the order in which players will take their turn during the ball. So the higher numbers will go first. And then there will be an effect. So this one is called Full Dance Card, and the effect is when you dance with a prospect, you may pick another one that nobody can dance with. So dancing with the prospect is essentially the actions, or one of the 2 actions you're going to do during the ball. The prospects are all going to be there. You're going to take your little token, and if you want to dance with somebody, you put your token on there, and you will put a favor token on there that matches your player color. And if there are already 2 of your favor tokens on a particular prospect, and you would place a 3rd one, instead what you do is you put an engagement token on there. And now you are engaged, and nobody else can put their favor tokens on this character. You're set for the rest of the game, and what you're trying to do by the end of the 8th ball is raise up your prospect so that they are as high as they can be in the prestige, so that you can get the most points for them. You get a point for being engaged, and by the end of the game, everyone's going to be engaged, but those who are hastily engaged at the last ball will not score a point for the love match that they're actually trying to make. Now, instead of dancing with somebody, if somebody's already dancing with either the prospect that you wanted or it's looking really good for them, you can instead catch them in a scandal by placing your character token next to somebody who is dancing. That will remove one of that player's favor tokens, and you will get to look at the traits. You don't get to reveal them. Now, when you dance with somebody, you do get to look at both of the traits, and you may reveal one of them. So, for instance, this character has the I'm a liar trait. And as you can see with the down arrow, That means they're going to be moving down in prestige when this gets revealed. It's also worth -2 points at the end of the game, so not one that you hope to have revealed if that's who you're going to be engaged to. The other token here is Arrogant, which, as you can see, moves you up in prestige, but is also still worth a -1 point because it's not really a great thing to be bragging about. So there are effects that can remove a trait and replace it with another one that you'll have to reveal. So even if a character has a couple of negative traits, over the course of the 8 balls, that might not be true. It might turn out that they weren't a liar. They were polite or something like that. So those are randomly placed on there. So it's not necessarily you're fishing for, well, I know what his traits are on the show. That's not really how it plays out. So, yes, by the end of the game, you're going to, at the end of the 8th ball, you're going to look at where your prospect is in the ladder of prestige. You'll get points for the higher up. You get points if you have made a love match, which means you got engaged before the 8th ball. And there are points based on their traits. So this is a very straightforward and simple game, and I think that's actually good. It's a positive. This is a game that I think makes a very good gateway game. So if you have friends or family or neighbors that you know are into Bridgerton, but they're not necessarily hardcore gamers, this is a game I think you can get to the table with them. It's very accessible. It's very easy to play. We read through the rules. They were pretty clear, and we understood what we were doing. We were able to dive in very quickly, and as I said, we got through the game in about half an hour. So yes, you could probably play through it a couple of times. You could have in different characters. They're going to have different traits. The order of the balls will have an effect on the game, which is interesting, and then how the cards play out. So it's going to be a little bit different, although largely the same from game to game. So if you're somebody who is into deep strategy, this may not be the right game for you. But again, if you like the theme, if you're a fan of Bridgerton, you like the idea of, oh, I caught you in a scandal, and now I've revealed that you are, or not revealed, but I know that you're a liar, and I can reveal that later on. Things like that. Then, yeah, I think this is a pretty good. It's like I said, it's very accessible. It's a good gateway game. I'm sure that we will play this again, and I like that it plays up to 6 players, so that's pretty good. I think we could have a couple of couples over, and then after dinner, we could say, yeah, let's break out the Bridgerton game. A lot of the people here are fans of the show, and so it's a good way to celebrate that. That's what I like about games that are based on an IP. It lets you celebrate that IP, and we find this to be pretty thematic, even though it is such a light game. It does capture that. We couldn't help but start talking like the characters and and behaving in a fairly ridiculous fashion, which I think good games bring that out of you. So I give it a good review. I think Bridgerton is a good design. It does what it needs to do. Could it have been a much more complex and game with more depth? Absolutely. But again, I don't think it needed it. I think for this type of game, this is the appropriate level of complexity. And as I said, this is a game that I hope will get out there and find its audience, because I think that those players largely will be satisfied with the gameplay. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.